move up the ladder, there is a point where the court could say any vote after November 3rd does not count. So despite this election is different than we've ever seen.
Yeah, it's bizarre. That's exactly right with Pennsylvania because, who knows? I mean, there's allegations of late ballot counting in Georgia. Pennsylvania, who knows how that's going to go? I mean, there were people saying that you could just bring in any ballot. It didn't have to be postmarked or anything in Pennsylvania, and they were going to count it. I don't know where all that goes legally. This is stuff that's a little bit over our pay grade.
Right.
When all these lawyers get involved, it's like, what is this going to end up being? But there's going to be a lot of lawyers are going to get a lot of work here.
Well,
the next
Rudy
couple
Giuliani
weeks.
is going to be joining us live on the show in just a bit. We're going to ask the very man who's leading this whole thing about this very question, specifically about Pennsylvania. Rob Schmidt, thank you very much. All right, we'll bring in now Bruce LeVell, Executive Director of the National Diversity Coalition for Trump. Good to see Bruce today. Thanks so much for coming on. First of all, have you talked to the president? How is he feeling this morning? We've heard from him last night. He didn't take any questions from reporters. We didn't expect that he would. What have you heard?
Not directly, but very close, I will say. He's strong-spirited, Sean. And let me tell you, Don Jr.'s here. Matter of fact, he's at the headquarters right now. We had a good turnout last night. Press conference, talking about what's going on in Georgia. I will tell you, we do have about 8,900 troops, military ballots that we're waiting on. The other thing, too, here's something very interesting here, too, because, we doubled the black vote. You saw the numbers in the Latino vote. You looked at Asian vote. You look at Native American vote. You look at the overall performance in the minority community. Now, remember, Biden and they ran on a campaign saying how bad the president was and the racist and all this other stuff. Number one economy, lowest black unemployment. Yeah, we deal with the pandemic. However, when you just look at this, and I said this many, many times, way back when they started talking about mail-in ballots. I'm a military kid. I understand absentee ballots. I understand I was a party chairman. I've been in this game since I was 18. And one thing that disturbed me the most was Sean, the chain of command on anything that a ballot gets out of your sight. Now, remember, here in Atlanta, we were birthed, the civil rights movement, my dad and my uncles who marched with Alveda King's dad, A.D. King, the civil rights movement was birthed on this conversation, basically. The ballots, the going to the polls, making sure that the ballot is accurate, making sure, but that was used as a deterrent to keep black Americans and other folks away. So we understand the importance of, we actually dressed up, my family would dress up to go to the polls. That's how important it was. So to start the narrative of you could just mail in and put it in a box, no one supervising, what authenticates a postmark date, who took the bag and where did it go, who authenticates that this is a legitimate voter. So, it's different when you're coming out of it, a term where you're having the worst economy and you're having the worst, but you actually gain black votes, double that vote. And
right.
We still, in some cases, Sean and Emma, it's in the high 20s in certain counties across the country.
Right.
We delivered. The coalitions, we delivered.
Oh, no doubt.
So now you're sitting here like, wait a minute. I mean, just from a common sense perspective.
Sure. I want to ask you about this, too. I got a little bit of time left with you, but Biden's overtaken in Georgia over Trump right now, 917 points in your state there. I want to play this. This is Georgia's Secretary of State making this announcement yesterday.
We hope to have clarity on the outcomes of these elections as soon as possible. However, when you have so many important elections in the state being so close, done is a very relative term at this point. We're trying to get all the legal votes counted accurately so we can give the right results and make sure that everybody's vote is reflected properly.
Play this because I know there are voters out there that have cast their ballot. They're looking for hope. It seems glib at this point if they're watching the news here. But again, there are still some, I think, 9,000 military ballots that have not come in. Tell me about that. Are you still hopeful in Georgia?
Yeah, I'm very hopeful because once again, here we go. We entertain a process of mail-in ballots. And I'm sorry, once again, the conversation of chain of command, the supervision of these precious ballots. How do they get there? Who transported it? Who's in the sorting room? These are all the calling the question because remember, like I said earlier, when you double the black vote, and you almost double the Latino vote and high Native American vote, and Sean, you're coming into a very successful 4-year administration, and then all of a sudden, like I've always said on your show and many, many shows, the numbers don't lie. But this particular number is going to lie. And the truth is going to prevail. I'm very optimistic. I believe that President Trump should be in this seat because of everything that he's done in terms of his administration has been very successful with foreign affairs and domestic. I'm very optimistic with it. But this is part of the awakening from everything he's went through, the impeachment, all the lies that's been put on him from day one. He's had to fight big tech. They're censoring him now on Twitter. This is an all-out war.
Bruce, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. You mentioned, I know you're loosely dancing around Russiagate as well, because in a statement, the DOJ said this, quote, "The Department of Justice pursues all actionable information it receives and, as always the case, encourages anyone who suspects a federal crime to report it to their local FBI office." Do you have faith that the DOJ will actually do something given their track record on Russiagate? They didn't act. We haven't seen much on this. They have Biden's laptop, Hunter Biden's laptop, for more than a year. Still haven't seen anything on that. Again, a whole nother story outside of the election.
Yeah, I have faith. I have faith in God. I have faith in God that God's going to prevail over all of this. I believe in my spirit. I was there in 2015 when it was spoken that this man will be the president, and there were 17 other candidates in the field. I knew that there was going to be a lot of things that were going to be unveiled, and that was crookedness and pay to play. He ran on a platform of pay to play. He's fighting against a deep-seated, Sean. Forget about this conspiracy talk. Deep-seated pay-to-play system that's been in place in our republic for over 40 years. So Republicans and so-called Republicans, Democrats, this is what he's fighting. There's people sitting in these congressional seats and Senate seats that don't like the president, that call themselves Republicans. This is like I've said on your show, this is a living, breathing, an American revolution where the president is fighting for the American people to put it back to the working class people and not the special interests in pay to play. Joe will pay to play. All the other candidates that we've had in those Oval Office, they would do the deals. This man won't do it. So, yeah, it's an all-out war, and it hasn't stopped. So I'm very optimistic that God's going to reign over this, and the truth's going to come out with this. And so he'll be back in that Oval Office. I already got my suit ready for the inauguration.
What a time to be alive. Bruce LeVell joining us.
I stand by that. I stand with that.
Well, I'll hold you to it. Bruce LeVell, good to see you, sir. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And we want to hear from you. Who's winning the election? Who's stealing it? Biden, Trump, neither? Take our Newmax poll. You can text the word poll to 39747. Tell us what you think is going on.
A deep dive into Pennsylvania's problematic voting issues and allegations of fraud. We're going to be talking to a Pennsylvania attorney general, hopeful, who's still in the tight race there. Next on National Report.